Namaste. So, the universe is like an AI. That's not to say that it is an AI. It's something much more than that. But there are many points of similarity which can be used to make a simile, a metaphor, a model that has a surprising number of points in common with the way the universe actually works. So then, what's really going on here? Obviously, we're not really making prompts and talking to a machine. What we are doing, however, is making desires, making images of the way we would like to be. And we are carrying those with us when we go into sushupti. And what I've done here with this simile or metaphor, this AI metaphor, is simply point out how this works using something that you're probably familiar with, or if you're not yet, you will be soon. AI is going to take over everything. But of course, an AI is just a dumb, stupid computer programmed by dumb, stupid human beings. And our intelligence really leaves a lot to be desired. The brain has limited bandwidth. I think we figured it out one time about 10 years ago to be about 100 megabytes per second of information. That's still a lot, but it's nothing compared to the actual reality of the universe, which is enormous and complex and deep. Only the mind of God can comprehend that. But this model contains a warning that why are we frittering away our valuable time and using up our valuable lives only to serve instrumental economic development? I mean, it's such a waste of time. You know, the people who live close to nature, we might call them savages, but they're not. They're just as intelligent as we are. The difference is they have not given up their lives to a machine meant to produce economic advantage for the upper classes, the elites. But we have, in the so-called civilized world, given up our agency, given up our freedom to play an economic game that benefits only the capitalists, only the people at the top of the pyramid. This is stupid. And it sets us up for a continued existence in fruitive activities, karmic activities in the material world. Is that really what we want? Well, maybe if we suffer from a very limited imagination. Everyone is competing for those top spots at the top of the pyramid where you are apparently in control of everyone else and you're apparently the beneficiary of everyone else's work. But what it's really about is becoming entangled in material karma. And that leads to birth and death in the material world in different species of life, going on and on, samsara, going on indefinitely. And we want to get out of that. So the GodGPT, the universal AI, can help us do that. Shakti, the universal mother, she can bring us to the feet of Shiva, and Shiva can bless us with liberation, give us self-realization. That's his prerogative. That's the one task that he keeps to himself out of the 5 functions of the divine: creation, maintenance, destruction, hiding. After the universe is destroyed, it just goes away. And liberation, blessing, anugraha. Liberation means freedom from birth and death, freedom from becoming in the material world, except when and as we desire. God has that freedom, and we can have it too, because ultimately we are Brahman. We are Shiva. We can merge with Shiva. Shiva wants this. But we're so dumb and we're so entangled in these material concepts of life that we don't take the liberation he offers. We don't do the sadhana. We don't educate ourselves in spiritual life. This is one of the great wonders. One time, it's described in Mahabharata, King Yudhishthira was asked a bunch of riddles by a demon who was keeping his brothers hostage. And to free them, he had to answer all these riddles. And one of the riddles was, what is the most astonishing thing in the world? And Yudhishthira answered without hesitation, the most astonishing thing in the world is that even though everybody knows they're going to die, they don't do anything to advance spiritually. What do? They pursue temporary material ends. They pursue their desires. They pursue possession and control and domination and wealth and fame and stuff like that. Useless. Completely useless. Why? Because they're temporary. This body is going to go away. It has a limited span of life. We're all going to die. So how do we deal with that? Everything that we do in this life is terminal. It's temporary. It's finished. All these videos and stuff that I've made are going to go away. Unless somebody makes an effort to save them. So far, nobody has come forward to be the beneficiary of my work. I've been here on this channel for 12 years now, and not one serious disciple has come forward. I would give them everything, but they don't show up. What to do? People are stupid. And this was Yudhishthira's point. Even though we know all of this is temporary, we're all going to die, we don't do anything, really. It's nothing serious. Maybe we go to church, or do a little yoga or something, chant a few mantras here and there, but we don't take it seriously. We don't dedicate ourselves to it 24/7. And that is where we go off. That is where we screw ourselves up. That is where we make ourselves miserable. Because if this life is all there is, it's misery. It's suffering. Buddha pointed this out. The world is anicca, it's temporary, it's dukkha, it's unsatisfactory or suffering, and it's anatma, not self. So because the world is like this, it's duality. It never resolves. The tensions, the desires, the aims and actions that we're pursuing in the material world never resolve. They just pave the way for another cycle of paticca samuppada, becoming, leading to death, leading to another becoming and another death, and so on. Indefinitely. That's samsara. Why does it happen? Because we're misusing the cosmic AI. We don't know how to input a prompt or a series of prompts that result in our liberation. Instead, we simply feed it a bunch of garbage that winds us, brings us back into manifestation, brings us back into the material world. That's dumb. So what I'm proposing with this whole series, with this whole analogy or simile or metaphor of the AI, cosmic AI, is that you begin to input prompts that result in your gradual elevation leading to liberation. That's the real purpose of human life. That's really what we're doing here. That should be our purpose, as Yudhishthir was insinuating by his answer, that this is the most astonishing thing, that people don't prepare for death, that they don't prepare for the next life. Even Buddha says there is a next life, there is a next world. What is it going to be like? That's up to you. That's up to the commands, the prompts that you give to the cosmic AI, because ultimately you are Brahman, you are Shiva. We all are. There's no other explanation for the fact that we're alive and we're conscious. Scientists and the idiots will never find a material explanation for consciousness. A testable, provable, material explanation, because it doesn't exist, can't exist. Consciousness is the fundamental fact of existence. It's axiomatic. It's basic. So you won't find anything supporting consciousness, because consciousness is the support of everything else. That's the definition of Brahman. That's the definition of God. So this God, this consciousness, is reflected in the material creation, in the bodies, the minds, the hearts, the will, the actions, the energy of the living creatures. But without consciousness, all this is just null and void. It's just a whistling in the dark. It's the empty pouring into the void. So consciousness is the thing that makes everything worthwhile, that makes it what it is. Consciousness is the one ingredient without which the rest of everything is useless. So consciousness is the thing that we have to nurture, that we have to study, that we have to develop. And of course, my effort on this channel over 12 years, and before that, even when I was teaching duality, spiritual life based on duality, still, the emphasis was on overcoming this cycle of birth and death, attaining liberation, getting out of this material existence and into a much better situation. How? By inputting these prompts with spiritual content into the universal AI and reaping the benefit in the form of an exalted way of being, a higher form of existence, and ultimately leading to complete enlightenment and liberation. Aum Tat Sat. Aum Shakti Aum. Aum Namah Shivaya.